Hello, my dear viewers, and welcome into another League adventure. How is everyone, and what is up with all this ruckus? Riot is really trying to save the game. If you guys didn't know, we are getting a proper buff this time. And let me tell you this, no matter what they say, this buff is a bit huge. While we trying to win this game, I'll try to give you guys a somewhat in-depth analysis done by yours truly, to understand what are we getting and for how much. The Twitter post indicated that Riot treats any changes to Volibear with caution, and I wonder why. There is something weird about how Riot picks its favorite champions. To keep you up with this game, we will be having a true Giga Chad carry in the bot side. Pyke is always on my possible ban list candidates with Yi and Rengar, simply because once they are ahead, you can't recover from that. He is elusive, can execute you and your team with, and if he fails the engage, he just chill and wait for his cooldowns. But since this guy did a good job early game, he will be getting a free pass from me this game. No flame or tilt moment, and this is the best offer a jungler can give to his team, a happy and safe space to express your skill in emotes. Now, back to the main event of this video. What should we accept from Volibear's buffs? There are many problems with Volibear based on that Twitter and let's try to sum it into one idea. Volibear sucks in the jungle, and if you are picking him, your team should expect from you a low-quality gameplay, and his kit doesn't offer him a variety gameplay. And if you are picking Volibear only because he can do an epic entrance and disable towers, that is only exciting for you, not your team or the enemy team. In other words, Riot is saying, why are you still playing this champion while we provided you with many other great ones that can do better stuff like wall walking or even be invisible the whole game? Why would you pick a grumpy bear that looks epic, manly strong, and doesn't give a shit about his team or the enemy? This is a clear message that Riot doesn't have a proper vision about Volibear. Hence, our lovely bear's identity is lost. And we need to stimulate that idea to understand how can we improve this champion to fit in the current season. I am also wondering what is the identity that Volibear has to offer in League of Legends, because Udyr is a champion that just manifests the spirit of Volibear with just one spell, and it got more impact on the identity of the champion than the spirit itself in game, so yeah, feel free to leave me your opinion about the true identity of Volibear. Back a bit to this game, regarding this invade, I went a little bit for a greedier approach only because it is Zera, and I wanted to push my limit a little bit and go for a level 3 duel against the plant lady. But greed is the jungler's first enemy, and my mistake was seeing Yone against Viego automatically. Yone will push the lane and we have a better position to get either a kill or even a double kill, and I might die in the process, but it is fine. And this is my second mistake. I shouldn't die this early in the game, and this invade will be my reminder. Now back to the Volibear's new buff, and we start with the first one. The idea of buffing Volibear's Q seems to be the only thing to do for now. If you wish to improve Volibear ganking potential, anything more would be an overreach to topside Volibear. The major logic behind playing Volibear jungle is to take press the attack, frozen gauntlet, survive the enemy damage, and land your debuff and slow on the main target to ensure its death. Seems fair, simple, and can be almost done on every game even if the enemy have flash. However, the issue with that is you sacrifice damage for survivability, and you end up dying on the other side of the fight alone, surrounded with 2 or 3 opponents. And that is the dilemma of divers. No one can keep up with them. Yeah, that was a bit lucky. Zera almost managed to sneak the Baron if only someone was there to help her. Truly feels bad, man or woman or plant. The important thing is that we got the Drake with almost no effort at all and the grubs. Now, this buff is like an upgrade that will go unnoticed. Let's think of it as of growing an extra finger that will serve you no purpose except scratching in new places that you need more effort to reach. And to be fair, the only scenario where I can see this buff effective is that you are having a prolonged team fight. You cast your first E spell, then you survive for 8 or 10 seconds. The second cast will come faster, that if survive the extra 2 seconds for the spell to complete is cast. So yeah, good but not impactful. Not. Now that I'm looking at this reply, this dude is last hitting while we are trying to gank. Ad carries are sometimes enhanced bots. They only think in deterministic patterns. If he thinks about last hitting, he will only thinks about last hitting the whole game. If he is aggressive, he will keep feeding until the server reboots for the new patch. The true meaning of bot side. Now, regarding the major update, the ultimate change, we lost one aspect, and that is crowd control invulnerability, and gained plenty of new stuff. And most of us wonders, is it worth it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, pull out your notebooks because we are going for a ride regarding the numbers. We lost 1 second for tower disable duration and gained instead cooldown and a lot of cooldown. So how are we going to proceed to find the margin of profit with these changes? First, we need to estimate some parameters. On average, we acquire our ultimate around 6 minutes in the game. The level 2 ultimate is around 14 minutes, and the last upgrade of this final spell is around 30 minutes. And also, on average, League of Legends games last around 35 minutes. Hence, you use your ultimate only for about 5 minutes or so, hoping you are having a good average game where you are not either ahead or behind. So far so good. We will assume also that the fight is so heated that you use your ultimate whenever it is up around a tower. And we will try to find 3 things: total number of usages, number of seconds lost in a game of 35 minutes of tower disability, and the extra damage obtained from spamming your ultimate. And the results are as the following. In a game of 35 minutes after patch 14.4, you will be able to use the ultimate 3 times more than before, with an extra damage of around 1400 physical damage, and you will only lose about 5 seconds of total tower disability in your total game. And by the way, even if Volibear didn't have any ability haste with the new changes, he will be using his ultimate around 16 times in the whole game. You might wonder, in a whole game, I will only disable tower 5 seconds less if I sum all my tower disables. But why? Simply because the cooldown changed and you will be able to use your ultimate more than before. That leaves us with only one question. Then what is the worth of CC immunity? Well, this is hard to calculate because there is so far no decent way to estimate tenacity value, and this leaves us to every Volibear play and how he uses this aspect in his gameplay. For example, in my situation, this ability is the most effective against mages. I noticed a lot of mages have a delay to apply their crowd control, and you can anticipate that, for example, Xerath, Veigar, Victor, and such. All these mages have only one spell that would stun you, and you simply dodge that spell entirely. Apply slow and damage, and hopefully you get the kill. But against melee champion, you usually only use the damage and slow or the dash to create some space while waiting for your other spells to come back. Hence, this die buff will impact each Volibear player in a different way, and between me and you guys, I feel that this is much better. We were lying to ourselves, you think you are CC immune, but more CC is simply waiting for you after you dash over. Then it is better to be mentally prepared and remove the placebo effect and take it like a man and embrace the new changes. Also, these changes doesn't answer another problem with Volibear, and that is itemization. Any build feels lacking to me, and I think I will make a new build based on damage and lethality and play Volibear as an assassin so that we nerf all assassins, because Riot find it fine to delete people in matter of seconds, but hard to be able to tank that damage when playing a tank or a bruiser. Maybe it is our mistake expecting something different from their game, and we need to change our perspective accordingly. Well, shockers, enjoyment comes at a price, and that price is being stuck at your own ELO until some favorable changes are installed. Patience is a virtue, my friends. Now, for example, in this game, I didn't really know what to build against this composition, and I decided to go for Trinity Force. If you wonder why, this items brings you patch 14.4 directly to you with only one item. You get movement speed with some ability haste and attack speed and some health, and also some extra damage on abilities. In other words, for Volibear to be viable, he needs to merge with Trinity Force and come as a new champion, the Grizzlar Bear, the one that can survive in any climate. To sum it up, the changes are very good, and it will improve the win rate on Volibear drastically in all ELOs. The issue is if you are hoping for gameplay improvement. Riot themselves don't know what to do with this champion since it doesn't have a proper unique purpose to exist in the game. But fear not, as long as I live. I'll try to come up with new ideas and method to fully use Volibear in every game, or lose trying. In this game, for example, I benefited hugely from dodging Jack's stun with my ultimate, and you can also do the same against Sedar and Mordekaiser ultimate, and so on. But imagine a situation where you just used your ultimate in mid lane, then it says 60 seconds cooldown on your ultimate. You would argue that having your ultimate again without the CC immunity is better than waiting for your older ultimate with the same cooldown. But again, all these changes are susceptible to cancellation and modification, and we are here just trying to get out the maximum benefit from anything that Riot throws into our general direction as players. The reason why I chose this game to explain the new changes in patch 14.4 is that whenever my ultimate is up, I felt the need to use it, and against most of these champions, having the extra movement speed as a jungler would have given me a huge advantage since you can catch them much earlier than before. Hence, the help that is on the way might be delayed, giving you the chance to get your kill and possibly run away. Also, against Poppy and Jax, if you max your bite first, it is almost impossible to catch them, because I am playing under the assumption that they would want to jump me first, and having the extra healing will guarantee that I'll hold my ground on my own in a duel, and I might survive enough until someone supports me and join the fight. But against a squishy team, running people down and exploiting your huge AD ration from your Q spell is the best possible game that you can have with Volibear. You might not even need to use your ultimate if you get a bit ahead and save that for applying damage to tower instead, or simply dive bot side. That 1 second shouldn't make a difference. Also, in this game, you can see clearly that having a lot of speed is more impactful than having CC immunity. For example, this Pyke that have almost no considerable health and doesn't use the concept of CC invulnerability with enough movement speed and some attack damage managed to catch Xerath and Viego. He bought one item that negate one spell similar to Volibear old ultimate. Now without anything else, Volibear will get the movement speed buff doubled when facing champions, and when he is stunned it gets reset. In other words, you would want to keep absorbing CC to keep your movement speed up and running until you reach your target. But again, this playstyle promotes reckless driving under the effect of alcohol, and your team will most likely flame you if you don't manage to neutralize the enemy champion. My suggestion is we build a new build that gives temporary tankiness and a lot of damage, so that you manage to reach your goal and create an opportunity to escape from there safely. I wonder what this build might be, but for now let's keep this idea until another video. Also, this increase in movement speed will help you move faster on the map. The current cooldown on Volibear's Q is 10 seconds at max level, and if you get 100 ability haste, it will be 5 seconds. The movement speed buff lasts for 4 seconds, and it doesn't decay over the duration. It is as if almost you will be benefiting from this buff 80% of the time once you reach your 100 ability haste. And that is, in my humble opinion, broken. Not just because of the movement speed, but also Volibear's ability. Apply that damage on the structures and stun enemies, and your champion ignores collision as long as he is running. Pretty cool if you ask me. In this game, you can compare Demolish with my Q's spell damage. Demolish got a 45 seconds cooldown to do around 700 damage. My Q with Trinity does half of that. In other words, in 45 seconds with 100 ability haste, I can do 9 Qs, and that is more than 3,000 damage. And with this calculation, in less than 1 minute, you can delete a tower entirely with Volibear, and that without Hullbreaker, and simply demolish your Q spell and your ultimate damage. When I said earlier, there is a problem in the build. Is there a good build that is viable and provide for Volibear all the stats it needs to be a strong champion while having 100 ability haste? Because it is a lot, to be honest. And here is the build in question that I propose. The order is messy, but it should work perfectly with the right hands. And the build goes as the following: Trinity Force, Lucidity Boots, Frozen Heart, Black Cleaver, Cosmic Drive, and Spirit Visage. With this build, you get over 100 ability haste and a little bit from everything. Mostly focused on damage and mobility. You won't win against a Master Yi in a duel, but you will provide be at all time a threat against the enemy carries. And the best part is, if the fight is shit, just ditch it and run to their base to end the game. Never forget this crucial rule of thumb. This build gives you the luxury to run through the enemy team, slap the AD carry on his face with your Q with both hands and run away. There is a hidden rule about this build that I should mention, and so that you guys don't think I scammed you. This build requires from you 2 things. First, you don't need to die at all and stay up in level and farm at all times in the game. Second, you should pick your fights wisely. Think as of yourself you are an AD carry without the countery behavior and toxicity, meaning you should position yourself always outside of heavy damage reach and wait for the enemy to use their heavy CC on someone else, and exploit opportunities and even sacrifice objectives to pull out plays that contribute into you winning the game as fast as possible. And with this, our time together has reached an end. This play is the last one of this game. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and feel free to let me know if you have a better build that can draw from Volibear its full potential. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.